widely accepted by many historians and mathematicians alike that Euclid of Alexandria is the father of modern geometry. His work in geometric axioms and lesser angles, as well as his number theory, has been more than influential. In fact, it has shaped the very way we view geometry.
Euclid was one of the most famous, actually probably the most famous mathematician of the later Greek era. He moved to Alexandria, Egypt, after he was born, quite a few years after he was born.
Little is known of the man that is Euclid. The circumstances surrounding his death and birth are shrouded in mystery. In fact, nobody knows for sure how he died or where exactly in Alexandria he was born. He's only mentioned in passing by two contemporaries, Pappus of Alexandria and Proclus, who only mention him in passing in their historical works. However, what has stood the test of time is his elements, which outline what would become modern geometry.
Euclid's book, The Elements, broke down geometry to give the common people a better understanding of his studies. This was the first time the masses were able to read and understand elements of mathematics. Before Euclid, only mathematicians were able to study math. Much of what we study in high school and college today in the Americas is due to Euclid's book, The Elements.
It is astonishing that his work is still being highly revered and used in the modern day, 23 centuries after the man's demise.
Actually, one of the elements that he came up with was the theory, his fifth postulate, which actually became the basis for the theory of parallel lines. And so he said, if you have two lines on a plane with another line intersecting through both of them, if the angles in the two lines that are created with the other line match up to be anything other than 180, then those lines are not parallel. But if they match up to be 180, then they actually are parallel. So if they have any other combination than 180, then they actually will meet at some point on the plane. But if they don't, they will keep going forever and ever without actually pushing each other. You see, another thing that Euclid came up with was the theory of congruence, and he actually used this to say that if you have a segment which is proportional to another segment which is proportionally the same, then those two segments are congruent. You can also have this with shapes and cubes and whatnot.
This idea led to Euclid's introduction of optics into mathematics. Euclid suggested that men sees through a visual cone made up of straight lines extending outward from the eye. The vertex of the cone starts at the eye, and the base of the cone meets the object being seen. Euclid identified that things seen at a larger angle seem larger, while things seen at a smaller angle seem smaller, even if they are congruent to one another.
They postulate that Proclus, which is a contemporary and a fellow Alexandrian, authored this, especially the edition known as the Theon. However, the overwhelming consensus among both the historical and mathematical community points to Euclid being the author of this text. Some have asked the question, what would Euclid think of mathematics? What is mathematics? The question that would be posed to him. I believe that Euclid would argue that mathematics is the culmination of the relationship between logic and the natural world.
I'd probably have to say that he thought that mathematics was just a way of explaining things.
Mathematics is the reflection of natural order, of natural law, such as gravity or even the golden mean.
Because he worked with shapes and with forms and a lot of that sort of thing. Kind of geometry, the things that we deal with around us. And so I would say that he saw it as a way to explain the things around us.
But that is a question I would really like to ask the man himself.